What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Thank you for clicking onto this reaction. I hope you're looking forward to it just as much as I am. If you haven't already, head over to the content creators page. That link is in the description box down below. If you haven't already and you're enjoying our content, you know what you need to do. You need to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, but we're going to jump straight into this one. Joan of Arc, Heroine or Heretic, episode 5. Let's go.
February 21st, 1431. Rouen Castle.
There, but decided not
Do
to,
you
yeah?
swear to speak the truth in answer to such questions
Really
as are
interested
put
what
to
it
you?
was.
Asks Bishop Cachon.
I
do not know what you wish to examine me on, responds Joan. Perhaps you might ask such things I would not tell.
Okay.
Will you swear to speak the truth upon those things which
Show
are
me how
asked
she
of
landed,
you
bruv.
concerning your faith, which you know?
You have a good point. Are we just going to skip over the fact that she jumped out of the window?
Yeah, like 100%. Like, there's no way they're just jumping over the. Keep playing it. I swear. If they just miss this, man, I'm epic history.
The Kingdom Come. That was the last episode.
I want a video response of
Concerning
how
my
she
Yeah.
survived jumping out of
and
that
what
tower,
I've done
please.
since I took the road to France.
And we know you get notified that we react to
And
this
if you do watch
it
our
comes
stuff-
up on the YouTube studio system.
If you watch
so,
our stuff, let us know.
like,
But yeah, let us know.
like, oh no, they know. It comes
good.
up on the
What
studio.
one then? Where's the
What one?
explanation?
What's going on? Wait. Give us a couple more minutes.
Okay.
We'll come back to this
Yeah,
just in
yeah,
case
yeah.
you answer it. But yeah.
I will gladly swear to tell the truth. But concerning my revelations from God, these I have never told or revealed to anyone, save only to Charles, my king. And I will not reveal them to save my head. It's the first day of Joan's inquisitional trial for heresy. She is both the defendant and the only witness, and she's arguing for her life.
Gaze, you cannot. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Jesus Marie.
There's got to be more. There's got to be more.
Foot on the ledge and launches herself into the night.
What's
Special
going
thanks
on?
to educational tier patrons Ahmed Ziad Turk
I'm
and
not
Joseph.
accepting this. I'm not accepting this epic
February
history. I'm
21st,
sorry.
1431.
You find our email
Rouen
address on
Castle.
our web on our YouTube page. I want an explanation.
I can't allow that to slip.
Yeah.
That's
We
like
love
the-
you,
that's
and we're
like
going to
the
continue.
Lannisters.
We love you. We're going to continue reacting, but
Yeah, you know, I want to see what happens.
Joan survived
gonna
the
be in
leap
the
from
lines,
the
I
tower,
bet you.
landing on a soft patch of earth.
Oh.
But the fall had gone badly, and she laid injured
we spoke too soon. Sorry.
A soft
until
patch
her
of earth.
jailers collected her. Her voices
70
whispering
feet up.
them.
Nah,
But her worry
bullshit.
came to pass. The Burgundians
Right.
sold her to the English, and there would be a trial for
No
which
No way.
No
There's
way.
no
She's
way.
not just jumped 70 feet and landed on soft earth. And she's absolutely fine. And
Do
she's
you know what? I don't
straight
want an
legs.
explanation. Like, to take your explanation back. Like, I'd rather be angry at you.
I'm actually just annoyed. I'm actually just annoyed. I bet you deliberately edited your video for that reason. People like us to get angry for a minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, because we're melts, Jack. Because
Yes.
we're fucking retarded, okay?
Dog.
Oh.
As they prepared, Joan languished in prison. English and Burgundian lords visited to Lirat and Groper. She was constantly alone with male soldiers.
Ugh.
She still wore men's clothing, though, for it was a greater defense against assault than a dress.
Good.
Outside her cell, the inquisitional trial was taking shape. At its head was Bishop Pierre Cachon, a clergyman who'd been a long supporter of English interests in France. In fact, he'd personally negotiated Joan's sale to the English. So this trial was not exactly fair, because you see, after Joan got Charles crowned at Arras, the English, not to be outdone, had rushed their boy king, Henry VI, into the country in order to crown him King of
Yeah, he
France.
was...
But Charles was still claiming, through Joan, that God supported his claim. However, if Cachon could prove in court that Joan was either a heretic, a witch, or a liar, it would go a long way toward undercutting Charles's claim to the throne. It was a trial designed to discredit Joan and her visions. Yet Cachon knew it couldn't be an obvious hit job. Everyone knew the English and Burgundians hated Joan and expected a slanted court. Therefore, the verdict must be unimpeachable. Cachon insisted on following strict procedure, enlisting some of the finest theological minds in France to serve as examiners. Every questioning session, Every move by the court, every piece of evidence would be recorded. He wanted everyone to know how they'd come to their conclusions. Yet his initial background investigation wasn't promising. An investigator sent to Dorame to dig up dirt came back empty-handed, and a group of English noblewomen confirmed Joan was a virgin, meaning she wasn't lying about being a maid. But that still left the charge of heresy, of harboring beliefs that differed from established church doctrine. And if Joan refused to recant, that was a death sentence. So the dance began. Joan insisted that they let her take mass. The prosecutor, for his part, insisted that she could not hear mass while dressed as a man, and Joan countered that her garments protected her. Then the questioning portion of the trial opened, with Joan standing in a castle hall amid 50 or 60 churchmen. Now she had an audience.
Okay.
Joan began sparring with the court over her oath to be truthful. She agreed to answer questions about her past and her faith, but not her visions. It was an argument that would repeat every day. And over the next week and a half, the court would probe her about her past, her beliefs, and every step of her journey since leaving Dorame. They asked about whether she had disobeyed her parents by leaving, about obscure village folk beliefs, and of course, about her visions. Her examiners were learned men, versed in theology, and with decades of education in canon law. Joan, by contrast, was an illiterate peasant who had only recently learned to sign her name on the letters she dictated. Yet, she pushed back. Her voices told her to be bold, to argue, to challenge. And though not traditionally schooled, she...
Your voices just tell you to be stupid, funny, and loving.
My voices jump.
had a sharp mind and had absorbed much in her years as a devoted Catholic.
Train coming.
On the third day, when the inquisitors asked her whether she believed she would go to heaven, the court held its breath. Because, yes, thank you, Admiral, it was a trap. If Joan said no, she would be admitting a state of sin. But if she said yes...
That one got me. It's a trap! It's a trap!
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's funny. That's funny.
Because honestly, I think he has the
sake.
voices as well.
He's definitely got voices, man. That's fucking... It's a trap. It's like one of the it's like the other line in Star Wars is "You rebel scum." One line, bro.
Not the children. When Anakin kills all the children. Not
There's
the
loads
children.
of them. What are we going to do?
She would contradict church doctrine that humans could
Cut that.
not truly know whether they were in grace. So either way, it would be an admission of heresy.
Ooh.
If I am not in his grace, she answered, may God put me there. And if I am, may God so keep me. I should be the saddest creature in the world if I knew I were not in his grace. Her eloquence on the issues stunned the court. Questions of faith she batted away with ease that puzzled her questioners, and Joan reveled in this performance. But when speaking of visions, though, she evaded, circled, outright refused. And this was wise, because she was not as well versed
You talking about your sex life.
in church doctrine involving spiritual beings, and if she spoke about it, might unknowingly create an opening. For days, Cachan and the Inquisitors hammered at her. Who told you to wear men's clothing? Why did you do it, despite the fact the Old Testament forbids it? Name the voices. Convince us you've seen the saints. He urged Joan to describe her visions beyond seeing light and hearing voices. Was it the voice of God, saints, or angels? If saints, did they give her a sign to convince others that her visions were real? This, too, was a snare. You see, church doctrine held that saints and angels were beings of pure spirit, and they had no corporeal bodies. So if Joan described seeing them in the flesh, you get where he was going.
Okay.
He took away her audience and began questioning her in private in her cell. The cracks began to show. She said the voices were the Archangel Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, and that they appeared to her, solid as her inquisitors, and she knew them by the symbols they carried. And when pressed, Joan described a vision she'd had at Charles's court, where an angel walked into the audience hall and placed a jeweled crown on the Dauphin's head. But she still refused to reveal exactly what she'd said to the Dauphin in private. And finally, Cachan considered using torture. And indeed, he showed Joan the implements, hoping the sight of these tools of pain would force a confession.
Scary.
But they did not. However, Joan was already ill. and they did worry that if they tortured her, she might die in custody. So tabling torture, they drew up their findings and read them to her. 12 charges. She would need to answer them the next day. May 24th, 1431. Joan stands on a scaffold in a graveyard, formally charged with heresy. The prosecutors had determined that either she had fabricated the visions, or they were demons. Then, a surprise. If she doesn't answer these charges, they say, they will execute sentence immediately. Joan's voices had promised that they'd deliver her from captivity, but now time was up. She gave in to fear and confessed. The inquisitors had not expected that, but they were delighted. After all, the best outcome of a heresy trial was one where the accused recanted and was welcomed back into the church. Joan would live, just in captivity. They shaved her head, put her in the dress she'd so resisted, but...
Wait, I thought they burned her at the stake, so she said that she'd done it.
So it's later on.
Yeah, but I didn't realise that she said...
Yeah.
She come out and said, yeah, no, it's all fake.
2 days later, Cauchon got a message. He rushed to Joan's cell. She was back in men's clothes, agitated. One story said her guards had assaulted her. Another claimed they'd forced her into her old clothing. She babbled. Her voices were angry that she had recanted out of fear, and she worried God would turn her away. A confessed heretic could live, but one who returned to their sin must die. And so, the next day, they burned her in the old marketplace. One English soldier held a cross high so she could look at it as the flames consumed her, and the executioner ensured that nothing was left. No bones the faithful could venerate. And finally, they threw her ashes into a river. Cauchon spread the transcripts across Europe to show they'd been right to convict her. King Charles reportedly swore vengeance for her death, but he made no public statements. In fact, he already had a new holy youth, a shepherd boy that showed the stigmata. In time, the English killed him too. But if the English had hoped that Joan's death would change the course of...
We just don't want any more shit, bro. We don't want any more of this bullshit.
If you become popular and you become a problem, you got to go, blood.
You've got
You got to go, blood.
the war, they were wrong. In 1449, 18 years after Joan's execution, Charles entered the English capital of Rouen in victory. The English were well on the way to being driven out of France. Where the father had been known as Charles the Beloved and Charles the Mad, the son would be known as Charles the Victorious. And part of that victory was to instigate a retrial, just as politically motivated as the first, that cleared Joan in 1453. Because in the 22 years since the first trial, politics had changed a great deal. With the Armagnac and Burgundian at peace, everyone was eager to rewrite history, recasting the war as one of French against English. And of course, Charles's continued success seemed to vindicate Joan's visions. Even people who had participated in the first trial emerged to denounce it as corrupted by politics. Joan was no longer a champion for the Armagnacs. This soldier from a bitter civil war was now seen as a champion of all of France. And her status as a national symbol would only grow over the centuries. And in 1920, the same church that had condemned Joan as a heretic officially declared her a saint. The girl who had defended Orleans.
That's just religion hypocrisy in one in here. You're a saint! No, sorry. You're evil witch. Oh wait, time is right for you to be a good person. You're a saint now. Literally, the time is right. I'm gonna do whatever I need to.
The time is right. We can use
Taken
it
the
now.
Loire Castle
Literally.
and failed outside the walls of Paris. Had made one final conquest. For now, she'd stormed the gates of heaven.
And that she did. The question is do you think she made her own decision to go back to it in the end there?
No, I think she had to put them on for her. I think she put her clothes on for her own safety.
Yeah.
I reckon a couple of them tried it.
Yeah.
She put her on for her own safety and she was like,
no. That's it. That's enough. Which is fair. I think I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Women had to go through a hell of a lot. But what a great series by Epic History TV once again. Epic History. No, not Epic History. Extra History. That's the one. If you want to go head over and check some of their content. I know. I know. I know. The link's in the description box down below. You know what you need to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm ending this video.